Thanks for staying with us. Now, in March, the National Bureau of Statistics said that the unemployment rate in Nigeria increased from 27.1% in the second quarter of 2020 to 33.3% in the fourth quarter. The NBS, in its report, said the number of active working population in December 2020, representing those within the age bracket of 15 to 64 years, was 122.05 million Nigerians. A Bloomberg report said in March that Nigeria surpassed South Africa on a list of 82 countries whose unemployment rates were tracked, with Namibia leading the list with 33.4%. The report said Nigeria's unemployment rate surged to the second highest on a global list of countries being monitored. Over the years, the number of people looking for jobs has been rising as population growth continues to outpace output expansion, and the stories out there are alarming of people being scammed or paying huge amounts of monies to secure employment, or some job seekers falling into the wrong hands of evil men, leading to their death, like we saw with the case of Ini. So according to the United Nations, Nigeria is expected to be the world's third most populous country by 2050, with over 300 million people, meaning things might get worse as it relates to unemployment. So how do we identify fraudulent job offers and guard ourselves against scammers? How do we solve this problem? Now, please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join this conversation. Tweet at us. Join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. I think I've been programmed. All right, so let me come to Elsie and Jennifer quickly before I bring in our guests. I'll bring in our first guest, and we have two guests today. So quickly, in your opinion, when you see, because every time on my phone, I get SMSs. I never apply for a job. There's always one address in Ikeja, Allen or something, come for an interview, you've been invited for an interview, congratulations, and all of that. These things happens almost every single week. I get the SMS. Yeah. So it tells me that some people are actually falling for these things. They are actually going for those interviews because that's the only way they will keep sending SMSs to somebody that is not responding. But let me hear your, if you've had any experience with job, scammers and all of that.
I've actually never gone for a fake interview before. That's because right from when I was, I think during my internship when I was in 400 level in the university, out of all my peers, I was one of those people who actually applied to companies to do my internship. And I spoke to people who were already working, who were already in the labor market, and I got advice where people told me, oh, whenever you get an email or an SMS asking you to come for an interview, all you just need to do is either Google the company and then check if it looks legit, and also go on Nairaland and then do your search. So basically what I do is I put the name of the company, or probably the full SMS or the email that they send, I put it in my search bar on Nairaland, and then it brings it out. So you get people who have probably shared their own stories there that, oh, this is fake, this is not legit, or this is legit, and all of that. So I got quite a lot during my NYSC and during my internship. I think I can't count. It was a lot. So it saved me a whole lot of stress.
So you were informed?
Yeah, I was informed.
Yeah. How are you, Elsie?
I was not informed.
Wow.
I went, I think it's somewhere around Ushodi, and went there, of course, job interview, there's availability. This is some 10 years ago or 11 years ago, way back, and of course we got there, you saw the, oh, wait, you have to pay 500 naira, was it 1,000 naira for your form and all that, and at some point I just left, But these things keep happening. I mentioned Oshodi. We know they have an office in Ikeja, they have a place in Ogba.
Yeah.
Conversations like this come up every time on social media, even on this Twitter that we're talking about, and it's usually Oshodi, Ogba, or Ikeja, right? For a government who wants to be responsive, this is what you call social listening. You listen and start your investigations and make things happen. But when people come online to make these complaints, nobody takes it up. There's supposed to be at least state investigators, state prosecutors, states, people that work for the state or the country to ensure that things are working well. But you don't see things like that. And it worries me because you mentioned Umoren, right?
Yeah.
She got killed because she was looking for a job. I also read a story recently on LinkedIn of a guy, is it a guy or a lady, who is still missing now. He went for a job interview. So it has gone even beyond extorting people to killing them, kidnapping them.
Yeah.
You know, so it's worrisome because what they really want is a job. The level of unemployment in a country, like you just mentioned, is alarming. So it means that a lot of people are susceptible to falling for any kind of scam because they really want to get something doing. Don't want to be idle. Everyone
the thing is,
wants
the
to get
hardship in the
doing.
country is just
so
too much.
because I want to get something doing, it's easy for me to get an SMS like you have said and start wondering, maybe is this my brother or this my
that applied on my
colleague or
behalf.
somebody that applied on my behalf, let me go. And when you get there, they will tell you to pay something. Now, even if you don't go ahead to pay and you realize, or maybe you are well informed and you turn back, you've wasted your time, you've wasted the transportation you would have probably used to drink your gari in your house and sit down, right? So this is a big scam. I also saw the report on Premium Times, which is one of the reasons we are having this conversation, and the expose they are doing on the racketeering. This one, they have an office, was it Ikeja or Ogba as well?
Yeah, I think it was Oshodi or something.
You know, they have an office there. This woman is sitting down there. You come in, you actually pay 3,000
naira, yes.
And then she tells you they'll call you back for the job.
They will now show you a list of the jobs, that which one you want.
Just imagine 30 people walking into that place that day and giving her 30,000 naira, what she's making. Again,
of course, it's a big deal.
Much money,
But then it's illegal. It's not right.
It's a big deal. But let me bring in our guest, our first guest. Dukwe is a chemical engineer turned HR professional with almost 15 years of progressive experience across multiple industries in Africa, North America, and in Europe. She has worked with leading global organizations such as PwC, AstraZeneca, and currently serves as a senior leadership and culture manager of a multinational FMCG company with presence across 28 countries in Africa and Europe. And she's joined in live from the UK via Zoom. Thank you so much, Dukwe, for joining us this evening.
It's such a pleasure to be here. Wow. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
All right, so Dukwe, you heard our little banter on the topic of employment, scam, and racketeering that is going on currently in Nigeria. I mean, you are an HR personnel, and you definitely would find things like this happening. So maybe we'll just start from what is your assessment, first of all, with the current unemployment rate, right, in Nigeria? What is the current situation? You know, how bad is it? How do people bombard you with CVs?
It is bad. It is very, very bad, and it's particularly sad. Speaking from the angle of being an HR professional, people have expectations. You guys are the ones giving jobs. You are the ones, hiring and firing and all of that. And people just think that when they walk up to you, considering the situation going on, especially in Nigeria at this time, everybody just thinks you should have something or you should be able to do something. But then the situation is not as easy as everyone would have expected it, right? It is really bad. I think one of the things that contributed to this issue or situation is even the COVID. A lot of organizations had to lay people off last year, and you have people cut off their means of livelihood and contributing to the already existing unemployment rate. So it just makes it look very, very challenging. And I can imagine that a lot of people have become desperate. Even the people that are, even scamming people are doing what they are doing because they've become desperate as well. So it's a mumbo jumbo. It's bad. It's
Absolutely.
really bad.
Absolutely. Honestly speaking, I also believe that those people are very, very desperate. That's why they will send me millions of SMSs and I don't return. But let me bring in confidence. Because confidence is our cybersecurity madam, Confidence Staveley is a cybersecurity professional, cybersecurity awareness advocate, global shaper, author, and entrepreneur with over a decade worth of experience in the technology space. So it was important for us to bring in confidence as well, because most of these online scammers, job seekers and all of us, outside of the ones that you see posters on maybe major bus stops and all of that, the major one, they've all moved online, right? They either go through SMSs, WhatsApp messages, emails, so many scams going on online. So confidence, maybe you should help us access or analyze your own summation. What's happening with, what's it called, racketeering and scam when it comes to employment, you know, in the Nigerian market?
So the thing is, generally speaking, opportunity scams are a big thing now. So opportunities, you know, to get jobs, to get a scholarship, to go for a fellowship, or you get to travel. So opportunity scams are quite a thing. And like I would say in Pidgin, as country, they had, you know, everybody looking for ways to get things done, you know, ways to get money and looking for greener pastures. And so this is even spiking in this time of insecurity, in this time of unemployment, and all of the other vices you can think about that can drive people to become desperate. So we're seeing a huge spike in opportunity scams around jobs. And some of these jobs are, like you've said, I mean, I really liked, you know, some of the things that have been discussed already, that, you know, those messages come to you. So some of them are text messages that come to you. Some of them are email that come to you. And then some of them are actually posted on existing legitimate board, job posting boards. They are using social media as well, like LinkedIn as well, Facebook, to actually post on legitimate platform fake openings. They're also creating fake platforms to then post fake openings. So it's a combination of all of these antiques we're seeing. So sometimes, you know, they'll post these things on on social media and begin to attract people. So, but generally the rule of thumb, to, you know, has already been shared. The number one rule of thumb is this is a time for eternal due diligence to be paid. You know, check out what that company and see what people are saying about it. Specifically, what we do at Logo for Maga is we research with all of these job scams and we publish about them. Some people, even outside of Nigeria, have found some of our posts because they Googled it and found that, you know, some fake UN jobs, for example, have been busted by us, and we put it out there. One of our posts around job scams has, you know, garnered over 100 comments because people are checking out. So do your due diligence, copy the employer's name, the prospective employer's name, copy the job posting, what's the role, whatever it is, they copy it and dump it on a search engine and begin to check. You'll find that one way or the other, somebody has reported it, because this is now a pattern. We also see travel abroad opportunities to get, jobs. So Canada, for example, is one that is really, really on the burner. And we've seen some emails that have been crafted to, you know, just to attract people in the tourism sector to move to Canada. And there are telltale signs of these things, but it's important that the first rule of thumb I put out is that due diligence is very, very necessary to pick out whether something is a scam or it's real, especially when it's coming to you.
Okay.
So I like that we're having this conversation because it's not just, some people would think it's just about the unemployed. They also target people that are employed with bigger opportunities and make it in it. Because I was researching today, and of course what I saw is with COVID-19 as well, especially in America, of course Nigerian statistics, you know how we are. But in America, you know that there is an increase in job scams actually. Now they follow the due process, you're conversing with them, and at some point they want to get your social security number and your information, but you've gone through a process that you would also go through if it's a legit employment, and you're beginning to think, okay, this could be legit, right? But there is something that would always be off. For the person who was sharing his story, he was talking about how the money they were going to pay was actually too high, because he had to now compare what he's supposed to be earning per hour in that job cadre and that industry, and what they were offering was way too high, and that was when he began to question it. So this is not just for the unemployed. They now work hand in hand from offline to online to reach out to people and then offer them something like opportunities to travel. The jobs are, it's not just even, I like what Staveley said, it's not just about Nigeria right now. They gave you opportunity to say, come to Canada and come and work here, come to Dubai, there's a job here, and all these are just in a bid to get something out of you. But now my question is going to go to confidence actually. It's now becoming almost extremely difficult to spot these people because they're also becoming smart. So what would be that one thing that you would ask that people look out for when they are seeking for job opportunities or trying to take on a job opportunity?
Okay, so number one rule of thumb, like I mentioned, is that you had mentioned is making payments. So most times, I don't know of any legitimate offer in this day and time that is seeking you out for employment and would ask you to pay a fee for any form. That's first and foremost. So generally speaking, that is a red flag anywhere, anytime. Once you're asked to pay, also once you're asked to submit sensitive information that has nothing to do with that opening. So, for example, some of them might say something like, "Okay, since you're looking to travel, give us the digital picture of your passport, and all of that. For the training you're going for. Okay, pay for health, pay for your insurance as well." Any payment first and foremost, and any request for sensitive information that per the time of the process where you're at, it doesn't make any sense to collect it. It's also a very big red flag. Also, if the company is messaging you or emailing you from a platform that is not self-hosted, so that means the name of the company is not what follows, is not what's after the @ symbol when they email you. So they're using a Google email account or a Yahoo email account. That is definitely a red flag, because most well-to-do companies should have a self-hosted domain as well. Also, look out for typographical errors. Look out for if that company has a social presence on LinkedIn, for example. Check with other people that have worked there. That's generally something that you would do, even without it being a scam. Find out, has somebody worked there? What has been the experience of that person? If you see there's an opening at the UN per se, you can find out, okay, so is this opening there? How's your experience been? So do that due diligence. And if you do not find that that company has a presence that is a physical presence that you can verify, please do not go to that place. And generally speaking, if you check, you'll be able to see some of these things on search engines as well. It's also important that you check out some other things like their phone number. So take their phone number and search on Google what other places that phone number being used, what are the reports about that as well, and then begin to see the comments. Usually you would find more comments around it. So it's just important to to develop a habit of researching the organization that you are applying for,
Okay.
and just never give personal information that's not necessary, and of course not pay monies.
All right, so okay, thank you, Confidence. I love this nugget that you're giving. I want to come back to Dupe, because you are the HR professional, right? You as an HR professional, what is the professional approach when you want to source for people, when you want to put out employment opportunities? Mm-hmm. What should be the professional standard that, as an HR professional, that this is what I would look at? I would say, okay, yes, this is legit.
So thank you for that question. There are different strategies actually for sourcing talents or sourcing, professionals, depending on the level of the role, okay, and the kind of, how do I put it? Depending on the level of the role. Now, sometimes some roles, let me start from the executive level. There's something we call executive search. So you will not find some jobs online. They are really, really handled or handed out to top-notch recruitment firms, to recruit for those very sensitive positions in organizations. So if you're targeting a senior level role, one of the things you need to ask yourself, what's the reputation of this recruiter? So you may not know the organization, because sometimes some organizations handle these roles very sensitively. So you hear things like, we cannot disclose the identity of the client at this time. So you might not be able to do all of the due diligence, that you want to do on that client. But you need to use your due diligence then on the recruiter. What is their credibility like? So the higher your status, there are certain things you need to look out for. Now, if it is not an executive search, sometimes people do what we call referrals, all right? So there are some people referring people. I mean, I've had a situation whereby I was considered for an opportunity that I wasn't interested in pursuing anymore. I had to tell the organization, you know what, I have a few people I can refer for this opportunity. So sometimes those kind of strategies are allowed. But when you come,
to the
when you come
market,
further down the ladder, right, where you're trying to recruit graduate trainees, because this is where the real scam really happens. The fresh graduates, the younger ones that are very naive, again, depend. So you see organizations who have things like graduate recruitment, where they're not recruiting for one position, they have hundreds of roles, maybe your customer care officers or your, all those kind of field sales agents for banks and all of that. This is where the real scam really, really happens. Of course, it doesn't mean it doesn't happen in other industries. So one of the things people need to do is, this due diligence we're talking about, you cannot overemphasize it. So people need to check. If I get an SMS, I want to check, what does this look like? So organizations use recruiters, credible recruiters. Now, there are some service providers, we call them job banks. They are not recruiters, but what they do is, they create a platform for candidates to create their profiles. So what they do is, you can go on that platform and register your data. So your name, your phone number, sometimes your address, and this is where the compromise often comes in. All right, so you're putting all of those details in place, uploading your CV. Some even go as far as putting their pictures. I've seen all sorts of resumes, right? And you upload all of these things in a database that you have no control over. Now, in some cases, you can really be dealing with a legit company, but in most cases, people are dealing with people who sell their data to the wrong people, right? So there are different things that happen because data is the gold now. Data is the gold now. I mean, there are a lot of SMS or messages to get, recruitment or not, that you're wondering, when did I subscribe for this? It's because data has started to change hands, all right? So you need to ask yourself, where am I putting my, information? What is my digital footprint looking like? Because you get exposed when you put your data out there, and anybody can grab it and use it for their own selfish,
what? Let's just take a very short break. Just 1 minute. We are back. Stay with us.